The problem with financial videos on YouTube and magazines and on the news is that nobody's exactly the same as you. And so you're trying to translate whatever information they have into your circumstances. For example, when to take Social Security. Should you take it at 62, 67, 70, or anywhere in between, a month at a time? Okay, so it gets complex and it's left to you to try to figure that out. Well, I'm going to show you a great tool to get started with this to be very specific to you. Now, I recommend using a software package like Boldin to do some testing inside of it. But also, I'm going to show you a powerful analysis by ChatGPT. Okay. Now, in retirement, to get confidence, I like to have multiple sources looking at different angles, different perspectives, different techniques to look at my retirement and say, yes, this makes sense. That gives me great confidence to make the big decision to decide to retire. So let's jump into this question around when to take Social Security. I'm going to give a hypothetical example, very specific, and I'm going to just walk you through ChatGPT's answers to this. So I actually asked it 3 questions through this dialogue, and you can see how easy this is to look at. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, you should be looking at my screen. So ChatGPT, if you look down here at the bottom, you type it in, you hit enter, and it comes up and it says, ask me anything. So here's what I typed in. You are a retirement expert. You need to tell ChatGPT who they are. I want you to be a retirement expert. I want you to be an economist. I want you to be a expert on the S&P 500, whatever. When is the best time for John and Jane to take Social Security? Defend this with facts, reasoning, and calculations based on the following data. John and Jane's should be, possessive there. Information, both are 60 years old, both are retired. They have $1 million in a traditional IRA earning 10%. It's in 100% in S&P 500 index fund. They have 200,000 in a brokerage account earning 6%, cost basis of 120,000. It's invested in Vanguard's Wellington Fund, which is a 60-40 stock bond mix. And then they have 20,000 in savings earning 3%, all in a checking account or a money market fund. At full retirement age, John will get Social Security of $3,000 a month, and Jane will get $1,500 spousal Social Security. Their expenses are $6,000 a month, increasing for inflation each year. So you obviously can just put in all your data here and anything else special you have. So I hit enter, and I would say 10 seconds later, I got this response. Great question, Joe. Here's the scenario. Summary of their financial situation, traditional, million, brokerage. This is all the things I just walked through. Monthly expenses, 6,000, 3% inflation is what they used. Full retirement age, both retired at 60. So this is just a summary of what I typed in. Why wait until 70 for Social Security? Okay, well, they said it was 70 right up here. It says they gave me the answer up front. Hey, Joe, best age is 70. Here's the background and why 70. John's Social Security is 36,000 a year. Delay until 70. You get an 8% increase a year, which will take John to 3720 a month and Jane to 1860 a month. The combined, they're making 66,960 a year. That's 15,360 more than if they filed at 67. Break even typically happens between 80 and 82. 2 people married, the average life expectancy, if they're 60 years old today, 50% chance one will live till at least 90. So that's the logic so far. They don't need the Social Security yet, is item number 2. They have the cash to bridge from 60 to 70, $72,000 originally, first year, increasing 3% a year with inflation. They do a present value calculation of how much money they need. It's $648,000 in today's money, and they've got 1.2 million. So they got plenty of assets compounding and growing. Okay, so reason number 3, you avoid sequence of return risk. If they took Social Security early, they'd reduce their withdrawals, but they would lock in permanently reduced Social Security benefit. Waiting till 70 reduces the longevity risk by locking in the highest guaranteed income stream in inflation. A lot of times people look at Social Security as just money. It's just an asset. Take it now, take it later. It's long-term. It's insurance. It's longevity insurance. Social Security is insurance. Okay, so don't forget about using it for its purpose, longevity. Their investment mix is heavily S&P 500, which means some volatility. It's safer to let the money grow in the portfolio earlier while deferring guaranteed income. Number 4, tax efficiency. Delaying Social Security allows more room to convert your IRA to a Roth during low income years, like ages 60 to 70. They can do Roth conversions up to the 12% or even 22% bracket to reduce their RMDs, required minimum distributions, and thus taxes, even Social Security taxes. Okay, so break-even analysis, they looked at, hey, at 67, Social Security would be 54, if you took it then. Break-even, it looks like somewhere right around, high, let's just say it's around 80, that it's break-even just by looking at the money. A lot of people like doing a break-even analysis because the smaller payments starting at 67 versus smaller but larger starting at 70. When does it break even? Somewhere around 80. If John and Jay have 82, Delane wins financially. If they live to 90, they're up nearly $70,000. So why not claim at 62 or 67? Well, that just shares the benefit. Claiming 60 at 62 permanently cuts benefits by 30%. The opportunity cost is high. So the recommendation is to delay Social Security till 70 for both John and Jane. So I'm not done. I'm not done. I said, hey, wait a second. What about, this is my text I typed in here. What about the fact that $100 today is more valuable than $100 in 30 years? It's called net present value, time value of money. And you can do a comparison using a formula for net present value. So I said compare 62, 67, and 70. Does that give the same conclusion? Well, they gave me this chart that says, hey, wait a second, the net present value of money is more valuable. It's more valuable to take it at 62, not by a whole lot. It's, I think that there's a table down here. 62, the net present value is 415,756, and then 67 is 393, and then 70 is 374, 142. So this all says, hey, financially, you're better off taking the money now. Okay. But this is the caution with ChatGPT. They are saying that starting at 70 provides the highest net present value. Well, that's not what this chart says. Okay. So they just give this case for taking it at 70 because of net present value. So I came back, wait a second. The chart you provided appears to show the net present value at 70 years old to be the lowest, yet you state is the highest. What am I missing here? And then it says, good catch. You're not wrong in that. Let's walk through and carefully verify. So they do go back, and they're using what they call what's critical in this, in a net present value, is the discount rate you use. And they're using a discount rate of 7%. That's basically, if you put the money in some investment, can it earn at least 7% a year? Now, so, that sounds simple, but the problem with Social Security is it's indexed up for inflation every year. So how do you handle that? That it's indexed up for inflation, say 3% a year. Well, if you're getting 7% on your money, your investments, that's not net. You have to subtract the 3% off that. Okay. So that's, to get a discount rate of 7%, you really need to earn 10% and then have that come back down to 7% because that's the real return. So if anybody knows that I'm saying that wrong, let me know. But that's my novice understanding of this. A discount rate of 7% is very high because that means in the 10 years that you want it to, the S&P 500, for example, needs to earn 10% with 3% inflation. So the discount rate would be 7%. That's very optimistic, especially at high valuations. And, hey, a fixed 8% by delaying Social Security is a lot more um, predictable, stable. Okay. So ChatGPT said, let me double check the math. And then it did the math and it compared and says, oh, I was right. ChatGPT was wrong, gave me the wrong answer, wrong interpretation. So you can't just take what ChatGPT says perfectly. Challenge it if it doesn't make sense, is my message. But you can learn a lot by doing this. Okay, so does that mean take it at Social Security to take Social Security at 62? Not necessarily. 7% is a high discount rate. It assumes they can earn 7% guaranteed elsewhere in the 10 years that you want it to, not over long periods of time, but the 10 years you need it to. Actually, it's 8 years, 62 to, sorry about that, 62 to 70. You need it to return that absolutely during that time period. And that's a tall order. Um, yeah, how can you do that? And it is longevity insurance, and the delaying allows you to do Roth conversions. Okay. So ChatGPT asked this question: would you like me to use a 5% discount rate, which is a little more realistic? With 3% inflation, that's an 8% net return. I said, yes, show me that discount chart. Well, you start to look at that discount chart, they're pretty darn, the net present value, they're pretty darn equal. Actually, 67 is the best number, but they're all within a few $1,000s. So it really doesn't matter. The net present value using a more realistic discount rate, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Do what works for you. And so they gave an interpretation of the 5% discount rate. Now claiming it 67 makes sense. Claiming 62 falls behind at 70, it's nearly tied. It's all about the same. So the decision point is sensitive to expected rate of return on the money that you're leaving invested because you're claiming Social Security early. At 7%, claiming early wins. At 5%, they're all about the same. And I think 5% is a much better number. I would actually probably say 4% would be a better number. So there you go. There is a free, this is free. There is, and let me stop sharing here. Here is a free process to you to ask it any question you can, ChatGPT, but you got to be specific. Don't just say, when should I take Social Security? No, you got to enter your numbers. You got to know a little bit about this, a little bit about net present value. That's a good one. You got to know what your expenses are, all the inputs that I provided. You got to ask ChatGPT very specific questions, and it does a great job. But as you see, it made an error. I'm not sure how it made that error because it said using 7% net present value that delaying to 70 wins, and that's not true. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. ChatGPT is something that I use a couple of times a day when I'm asked a question or I'm watching a video on outer space and colonizing Mars or how stars are formed. It is outstanding. And I think another source of an evaluation of your financial condition that'll give you more confidence in retirement. So you get somebody like ChatGPT to give you an opinion. You have Boldin Comprehensive Software to give you an opinion and you stress test it there. Maybe you meet with Donaldson Capital Management, get a $300 plan review. You put those things together. You meet with the folks at Money Pickle that I provide a free consultation to, and the links, all these are in the links below. You start to get all these opinions around you. You're looking for somebody to give you a little nugget that somebody else missed. Okay. Somebody else missed it. And that gives you great confidence in retiring at the earliest possible time with the greatest confidence and the confidence to spend money. Make sense? Show out.